You know what it is, man. Unique Mecca Audio, man. I'm getting ready to tell you about what it was like when I first got locked up. You know what I mean? When they first brought me into the feds, how the federal marshals handled me, man. Alright?
Special announcement, man. This is what my Cash App look like. It must have that green checkered box to the right of my name. No picture of me, none of that. This is exactly what my Cash App look like once you put in Unique Mecca Hall and you get ready to send it. It must have that green checkered box. Let's get this thing going. All right?
Unique Mecca Audio, man. I know y'all heard that. I want you to hear that. I want to do a little side check, right? But when I first got locked up, they picked me up in New York. That was a Thursday night, you know, December 10th, 1993. They picked me up in the Bronx. When they picked me up in the Bronx, I was on my way to the sports bar up on Tremont and Katona to meet up with Showbiz, AG, Fat Joe, and everybody was going to be up there. You know, because that's where everybody go. B.O., everybody go up there. You know, he was still alive then, rest in peace. Now, we all go up there, and while I'm in there, I see a dude looking at me. You know what I mean? And, you know, like I said, bottom line is speed up. I might even have told you that crap. But I seen a dude looking at me, little black dude, and you can tell he didn't belong, because when you in the trenches, you know who belong in the trenches and who don't. That's why I don't understand how police think they can come around and manipulate a man to believe that they a man. A pig is a pig. You can't change that. Let's get that right. A pig is a pig. You understand? And a man is a man. So if a man come around a pig, he can smell him a mile away. You can smell a pig. You know what I mean? No disrespect to the police, just keeping it 100, telling you how, you know, we think, because I'm tapping back into my old mentality right now. So now we smell the pigs. I knew something wasn't right. So I made my way to the door. Woo, woo, woo. Kissed a couple of girls, danced a couple of moves, you know, spun around like I'm dancing, and bing, went to the next joint, got a little closer to the door, but I make it like I'm dancing. I get up out the door. Get up out the door now. I get out the door. He comes running out the joint. I jump in the joint. I speed away. I get away that night. The next thing you know, I get picked up over in Harlem. You know what I mean? And I get picked up over in Harlem, and they take me down to MDC Brooklyn. Before they take me to MDC Brooklyn, they take me to 32nd Precinct. So I go to 32nd Precinct, right? And they got me in a joint, and they got me in a cell, and they was trying to kill me that night, because what they did is they left the window open to the joint. It was an old police building, so you want to pick up windows like a schoolroom. They left the big window that my whole body could fit through, you know what I mean, open. First they had my cell locked. You know what I mean? They go in the back, they talk. They must have ran their computer and saw who I was. Once they saw who I was, they turn around and, you know, they come back in, they bring me a little bologna sandwich, like they feeding me. You know, I'm used to eating steak and lobster. We do the bologna sandwich, you know. So they open the door to give me that. They ain't had to open the door, because you see the bologna sandwich could have fit through the door. But they did that because when they left, they made it like they forgot to lock the door. Knowing that nigga like me was gonna try that window. You know what I mean? So me and my man in the joint, you know, we're in the cell next door to each other, and I tell him, oh shit, my door's open. You know what I mean? I said, man, I'm about to break out. You know what I mean? And I said, yo, your door open, but their door wasn't open is the only reason why I didn't go. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, son, I ain't want to leave them behind, because this is my joint. They picked them up because of me. But, you know, I said, nah, I'm going to just chill. So we up there, and they kept leaving us in the room like hours for us to debate if I'm gonna use this door to jump out the window. They're probably downstairs waiting on me the whole time, right? So this is what I'm thinking in my mind. So I come out the cell and I creep and I look over the joint, and I see police everywhere. You know, so I shot my head back, went back in the cell, said, let me lay my black ass down. They got a cake baked for me out there. You know what I mean? So I laid down. The next morning, they take me to, that night it snowed like hell. That was like the biggest snowstorm in the 90s, one in the early 90s. That was the first one for the 90s, December 10th, 1993 on a Thursday night. So they take me down to MDC Brooklyn. When they take me down to MDC Brooklyn, they bring me up in there, and the first person I see is Big Andre. If y'all from Harlem, you know, Big Andre, so you know who Big Andre is. Big Andre down with the Wild Cowboys. You know what I mean? That was one of their co-defendants. The Wild Cowboys are the ones that they said allegedly was driving around a police car, putting lights on it, dressed up like police, pull you over, you get pulled over, put you in the trunk, and then hold you for ransom. Call your peoples and tell them to bring me 500,000 now. You know, that's the Wild Cowboys. Now, I done had a couple of experiences when I'm out there and I done seen the Cowboys and I had to, you know, played off and, you know, get out the car, make sure that my joint is being seen. You know what I mean? Cowboy behind me, you know, I just get out with the joint out so they can see it, and I go right to the payphone because we ain't had no cell phones like that then. So I jump on the payphone and I'm making a call and I'm watching them. But I'm in a position to move now. I'm not stuck in the car. You know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to get trapped in the car, you know? So I'm on the corner and I see them drive by and all that. A couple of times, you know, because they watch us. They watch us that's getting money. You know, that's what happened in the hood. So you can't get mad when, you know, you get jacked, because that's all a part of the hood. So, you know, here comes, you know, they put me in the cell and Andre's in there. So I see Andre and I look at him and he said, man, what's up, Neat? But, you know, I know him from the street because he talked to a girl that I know that I used to talk to, friend. So I said, nah, ain't nothing. So he looking, and I'm like, yo, what's up? What's all this shit about? You know, why they got us down here? So then he told me that they got us down here because they trying to take us, you know what I mean, into federal court to fry our black ass. And I said, get up out of here. He said, yeah, man, they got me and my co-defendant, the white dude, da-da-da. And, you know, we talked about the case and all that. And, you know, from there, they put me up there in a unit, like on a 10th floor, 9th floor, wherever, somewhere. I don't even remember, to be honest. But I got my printout of every cell that I ever been in while I was in the prison system, because that's going to be good, what they call NFT. You know, everywhere I was at, you can backtrack my every movement for all these stories that I tell, for those of y'all that want to, you know what I mean, keep track and try and look for criticism, you know? Gunshots to the haters. Gunshots to the haters. One more gunshot to the haters. Now, so that's where we at. So Big Andre up in there, they sent me upstairs, so now I get upstairs, and I don't even know none of them dudes, but everybody knew me. You know, I'm unique. Everybody know me. I don't know none of them, but they all from different blocks. They know I don't know them, but they know I know of them because I know their names and, you know, things like that, how it go, you know? So while we sitting there, they come in and they take me downstairs. So when they take me downstairs to go to court that day, I ran into, yo, this was going on in the 90s, man. If y'all don't know these names, Google these names. These are men that I ran across. Then I ran across Little Ralphie. You know what I mean? What's the name of Little Ralphie's stamp, man? Man, Little Ralphie, Blue Thunder. You know what I mean? They had Ralphie on the Blue Thunder case. You know what I mean? So Little Ralphie down there, he got his suit on. I'm just getting locked up, so I still got on my prison jumpsuit, and Ralphie going to trial. So while he going to trial, he telling me, you know, how they playing dirty in there. Ralphie, real intelligent young Puerto Rican man. That boy intelligent. I ain't gonna front, man. Round of applause to Ralphie. Round of applause to Little Ralphie, and big shout out to Blue Thunder, right? Big shout out. Now, you know, not promoting it, you know, just letting you know that he made his mark in our history, so y'all could not like it, criticize it, talk about don't glamorize it. It's not glamorizing, it's what happened. And the same way the Europeans, you know, even told y'all about slavery, and now they're trying to hide it from our kids by taking the books out the schools in Florida, is the same way that you playing into their hand and trying to hide our history. We got a dark history too. Everyone have a dark history, but it's all a part of history. When we come into the light, we remember where we was at during the crack era, which was the dark era. You know what I mean? For our people. You know, I'm just giving y'all some jewels, man. That's why I say Cash App be on the screen. Pay attention, man. You know, a little green check next to it. You know what I mean? But that's what that is. So you understand. So I'm down there with Little Ralphie. Little Ralphie tell me about what's going on in the court, how they bringing these dudes in there, and his co-defendants testifying, and he can't believe dude said this, dude said that. Then he tell me he bringing, you know, this ex-boxer in there. I ain't gonna say his name, you know, but it's in the case. He bringing an ex-boxer in there that he was cool with, that lived in one of the buildings that I had. I had a penthouse, you know, upstate New York, and he was living in the building. I know him from in the building. I know him as a boxer, but I didn't know he knew gangsters like Little Ralphie. You know what I mean? But he went in there, testified for little Ralphie, kept it 100, you know, and tried to help him out the best he can. And you know what I mean? It is what it is. But that's how this game is played, so you understand. So now I run the little Ralphie. So I leave from little Ralphie, and he goes into court. Then they bring somebody else down. Then they bring down another name I'm going to give y'all, Frank Masonette. You know what I mean? Frank Masonette. They bring Frank Masonette down there. You know, Frank Masonette with Gunn and all them, you know, Fat Joe from that whole little, you know, clique. Official Catch was getting money out there. You know what I mean? I forgot the name of their crew. But big shout out to Frank and them. You know, big shout out to Gunner, man. You know what I mean? But, you know, they out there doing their thing. So now, they telling me what's going on, and I'm just coming into this world, so I don't know what the hell is going on. So I'm picking up bits and pieces. Then they take me upstairs. The next thing you know, they move me to Otisville. You know what I mean? So they take me to Otisville. I go up there, and now I'm in the FCI. But the whole camp is where they got dudes telling and everything mixed in with everybody, and they got straight dudes, but they not really crushing them there because it's like, you know, controlled by the police in there. So now they take me up there, and then they had 30 days to get me down to Virginia. And on the 29th day, it was another part 2 of that big-ass snowstorm, and we tried to drive down there. And we stopped off in Alexandria, Virginia, then we went to Richmond, and, you know, Richmond, it was like 12:02. So they tried to put me in and hold me up at Richmond, which is only about an hour and a half from Norfolk area where I'm going, but the snowstorm was so bad. But Richmond was like, nah, y'all passed the deadline, y'all supposed to let that man go. You know, you got a court order. I'm not going to be a part of that. So Richmond didn't take me in. So they drove me all the way down, you know what I mean, to Suffolk, Virginia. I get to Suffolk, Virginia. Somebody said in the comments, to show you how, you know, how official I am. You know what I mean? Gunshots to my officialness. Gunshots. Now, they take me down to Suffolk in like end of December 1993, maybe 29th or something like that, right? I get down there. Somebody put in the comments that I was wailing because the Suffolk, you know, joint wasn't built in 93, you know, with the feds. It was after that. You know what I mean? My brother, I'm not even going to disrespect you. Like I said, I'm sure you found out by now. This is what I responded to in the comments, because I respond to all my comments. I got to get a new phone. That phone number ain't working. I got it from somebody, so I'm going to get a new phone number. So don't call that number right there on the screen. But anyway, so dude turns around so I don't lose my thought, man. Where was I at, man? Where was I at? I said, about the comments. Put in the comments, you know what I mean? This dude told me, because I responded to my comments, the dude told me that I was wailing because that jail wasn't built till 96, 97, something crazy, whatever. I don't even remember if he said a year. But he basically said it wasn't built yet. You know what I mean? My brother, you know what I mean? I open up a lot of these jails, my nigga. I'm 60 next year. I just turned 59 years old. You know what I mean? No disrespect. I'm probably old enough to be your grandfather. You know what I mean? Not your father, your grandfather. You know, under today's statistics. You know, so you understand. Now, the jail was there. I told dude, I give him either $500 or $1,000. You know what I mean? When I showed that I'm right, and all I wanted him to do was give me a public apology for testing my gangster. That's all. I said, just give me a public apology for testing my gangster. You win, I give you $1,000. You telling me the jail wasn't built, you know, it wasn't there, or that I'm wailing. You know, I'm not going to disrespect you because, like I said, it's a friendly man. So you can agree and you can say what you want to say. I welcome that. He said it real respectfully. That's why I'm addressing it, you know, respectfully. And I didn't just delete it, you know, and block him because he didn't deserve to be blocked or deleted. You know what I mean? He voiced his opinion. You know what I mean? He was a little aggressive in his text, but, you know, we all from the street. Big shout out to being from the street. All right? So, you know, that's where we at. But they take me down there to Suffolk. I get to Suffolk, and they take me in a cell just like the one behind me on the same side as me. Yeah, they're right here. Just like that. I'm in a joint like that. Then here comes a big old white dude with gray hair, gray beard, gray mustache. He come walking in there, and he got on a snorkel coat and galoshes because it was December and it was a big snowstorm. So when he come up in that joint, he throws on a black robe. Walk over to my joint, opened up a wooden box with gold trimming on it, and took out a gold gavel hammer that he traveled with. And he asked me my name. And I said, yeah, that's me. He said, well, you've been arraigned on a federal kingpin charge, and you'll be held without bond. Any bond was given would be rescinded. You know what I mean? And you'll be arraigned and notified. Bang! And he hit that gold gavel. You know what I mean? I said, oh man, I thought he was just an old white man. He done threw a robe on, and now he's decided my life. So I said, come on. So now, other dudes is down there cleaning up the orderlies and things like that, and they telling me about the joint. They asking me who I am, about my case, da-da-da-da. And I gave them the name Black, but I said that, I'm from New York. And yeah, they gave me a little kingpin charge. And they said, man, ain't nothing little about that. He said, man, everybody going to testify against you. He said, they got you as a kingpin. You're not going to stay here, because here's where they keep the dudes that's testifying. I said, oh, so you testifying? He said, nah, I ain't testifying. But, all the dudes up there testifying. You know what I mean? Okay, then I'm thinking to myself, then why they got you here? You know what I mean? They would have had a dude that's testifying down here cleaning up. Not a dude that's not testifying, tell everybody who's testifying. Because the dude that's testifying, he ain't going to tell nobody about his man's that testifying, because he testifying. Well, anyway, so that's where we at. So dude tells me about that. And they come and they move me to Virginia Beach, but they took me to a cell block looked exactly identical to where I'm sitting. And I was in this cell right here. This one. I was in the cell right here. How do I get it? I don't even know where to point it. I was in the cell right there. Nah, this one right here. That's the one. Right over the book, damn it. All right. Yeah. So I'm in that cell, and they got me in that joint, and we came out on a tier just like this, but it had a little TV in the tier. They probably just took it out for this picture. But it was a TV in the tier, and you sit there, you watch TV, and you go in the cell, and they got a phone hanging up, and you use the phone, call your people. But this way they got the DWIs. But I'm over here for a kingpin. I was over there about 3 days, then they realized who I was, and they moved me over to another side. They call that the old part of the Virginia Beach jail. It was all dirty and all that. That's where I ran into Stacey Robinson. You know what I mean? Big shout out Stacey Robinson. I ran into, who else? Kid named Vaughn, Sazmore. You know what I mean? We had some good men come through there. You know what I mean? We had men came through there, but a lot of them didn't stand strong. Some of those folded. You know what I mean? Some people folded that came through that joint, man. But I'm not gonna get into that because I'm not into bashing and all that. But they got me up in that joint, and then now when it's time to go to court, they come in the unit at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, get ready for court. Now, you get up and you get dressed and you sit on the bed. They don't come get you till 5 o'clock. Talk about they was waiting on count to clear. Then why did you come get me? This is what I asked. Yo, don't come get me like that no more. No, that's the procedures. I said, yeah, I heard your procedures. You heard me. Don't come get me no more like that in the morning. 3 o'clock, then have me sitting here waiting on you. You know what I mean? Every time, come on, man. How you do that to a man? No, you're just the inmate. All right, I'm gonna have to show you that. You one of them tough guys. So they take me downstairs. At 5 o'clock, I change out. Then they put me in another holding tank. Now they got me there again to 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. You woke me up at 3 o'clock, had me wait till 5 o'clock to move me, then put me in the cell by 5:15, and then don't move me out that cell again until 8 something in the morning. When I could have been up there sleeping, you could have caught me at 7:30. I would have got up and been able to do everything and still had time to spare. But you wanted to just degrade me and just wear out my senses to move me like this. I said, I got something for you, man. That's what I'm thinking. I got something for you, So they take me over there now. So now when I go out there was other dudes that they did that to. I wasn't the only one. When they take me out there, they call the names. And they call all the names and then call me last. By the time I get out there, they got all these people getting in these vans behind a police car, and then they put me in a police car. You know what I mean? So now they pull out the driveway and they turn right and the vans go left. So I'm like, where are these people taking me? You know what I mean? So they back in the driveway, and then I heard them say, Roger that. When I heard them say Roger that, they opened the garage door up. I pull out the garage, and as soon as I pull out, I hear helicopters. I'm trying to look up to see what's going on, because they didn't have no helicopters out like that, and even in New York back then. I don't remember seeing no helicopter when we was doing our thing. So what now this is during that time, and I'm hearing this helicopter, so I'm looking up and I see another helicopter. I'm like, what? So as he pull out, I see these armored cars get in the front and the back of my joint and motorcycles. And they riding, and I'm like, whoa, I got 4 cars, I got 2 cars in the front of me, 2 cars in the back, and 2 motorcycles in the front and 2 motorcycles in the back. And this is how they taking me to court for my first time. So when they do that, the road is clearing. You know what I mean? The road is clearing. So while the road is clearing out like that,
You will not be charged
hold
for
up,
this
let me see who
call.
this is.
This call is from
Mm.
This call
That's-
will be
this
recorded
Fingers,
and
man,
subject to
freefingers.com.
monitoring at any time. To accept, you may begin speaking now.
Yo, welcome, General. Yeah, no, I'm just doing a video, man. You always pick the times when I'm doing a video. I was talking about my first time being locked up, how, you know, they took me to MDC Brooklyn and then drove me to Virginia. Now I'm in Virginia, saw the judge, and, you know, it was just crazy. And then they taking me to court with the helicopter and the police car. You remember how they made a scene when we was going to court?
Yeah.
You know? What was that experience like to you?
What was that? I mean, it was a hell of an experience, you know, because, you know, we were taken from the city where we were from and took it to another city to do time down there. You know, they had me in Orange County, Virginia, locked down 24/1 because I was facing the death penalty at the time. And from there, you know, they sent me to other state facilities until I ended up in Farmsville Regional Jail, another private institution and stuff like that, because they wouldn't keep me in the Richmond City Jail. You know, the only time I went there was I went to trial, and it was like heavy police escort, Suburbans, and everything like that. It was crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that experience was one experience to live for. Plus, you got to be mindful that we were young, we were in our 20s and everything like that, you know, so that was a whole new experience because we never knew what the feds were about. In the state, we knew that we could make bail or we could whatever. When you get locked up for the feds, there's no bail. You're just being held there. You're actually guilty until proven innocent, not innocent until proven guilty. It's the opposite when you get locked up for the feds.
Yeah, because I was telling them how they wake us up 3 in the morning to not move us till 5 in the morning.
Yeah, you wake up 3 in the morning, and when you wake up 3 in the morning, you're not going nowhere till 6:30, 7 o'clock. So you sit in the bullpen with 20, 30 other dudes who's going to court, and you got to get on a van, you eat bag lunches and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a process, man. It's exhausting. By the time you get in the courtroom and you sit down and trial is over and you come back, you know, you ready to crash out, man. It's a hell of an experience, man, you know?
Yeah, see, so that's what I'm talking about. Tell them where you at and how much time you're doing so the people that don't know Jimmy Fingers at freejimmyfingers.com. Tell them how much time and where you at right now.
Right now, you know, I'm serving a life sentence. I'm in Loretto, Pennsylvania, you know what I'm saying? I started off in the max USPs, penitentiaries and everything, and over the course of the years, I worked myself down because the prison system has changed a lot since when I came in. When I came in, it was very violent, extreme, intense. Everybody was serious. Everybody was a man and stuff like that. So you had to act accordingly. There was a protocol that everyone followed, and there were movements that was dictated that, you know, everybody was obligated to. So after the years of years, you know, it started getting watering down because when I came in the system, you had to have a actual federal crime. Now you don't have to have a federal crime. It's not about criminality no more. They're just warehousing dudes here. They're bringing dudes in here for like bullshit drugs, you know, a gun and stuff like that. Back then you had to have an 848 CCE, a RICO, racketeering, or a federal bank robbery. You had to commit a federal crime. A lot of crimes a lot of dudes are coming in for state crimes. It's just that the reason why they're being prosecuted in the feds is because the feds gave out longer and harsher sentences. But now they're trying to change that to some type of prison reform that they're advocating out there. So I was able to, you know, utilize all the little laws that came out, chip away at my time here and there, you know. I just got some time off for the stacking of the guns because they can't stack no more. They would lock you up for one firearm and give you possession of a firearm being a convicted felon, possession of a firearm being a felony, possession of a firearm, and 20 charges for one gun. So they took away that. And, you know, throughout the years, I worked my way down to where I'm at right now. You know, it's laid back. It's out the way, and it gives me time to litigate and work on my case to further advance my goal, liberation.
Mm-hmm. You know? How long you been in?
Day for day, 28 and a half.
20. How old was you when you went in?
About 21, 22.
How old are you now?
50.
You know, that's how long you been in prison. So if you youngins want to go through this, go through this. Ain't none of this to glamorize nothing, man. That's why I got men like this that's coming home to join my platform to try and help prevent the youth from going down the path we went down. You don't have to experience it to know about it. Right or wrong, Fingers, what you want to say to them, man?
I mean, I gotta say this, man. It's all about your decision making. You gotta understand that when we was coming up back in the days and everything like that, we were born with 3 strikes already against us. We were born because we were young black males. We had that's 1 strike. You know, we had another strike against us because we was in impoverished neighborhoods, a society that deemed us outcasts. And the 3rd strike was that we had nothing afforded to us. Nothing we had was given to us. We had to actually go out there and get what we had coming to our families and everything like that. So now it's all about decision making. You got to utilize your intelligence, man. You got to know that when you get into something, there are consequences. But not only that, if you could deal with the consequences, you still have to make better judgment, good decision making, because the laws that they have, they govern under the color of law. The laws are for blacks, browns, and different migrant races and stuff like that, man. They stack. We're going up against a stacked deck. So if you don't know how to play cards real well, you need to fold that hand, man, and keep it pushing, because when you come in here, it's very, very easy to go to jail. The hardest thing is to get out.
Yeah.
All it takes is a lapse, one moment. One moment could change your whole life. And the thing about it, it's very easy to come into places such as this, but it's very, very hard to get out, man. Even if you got everything in your favor, where the laws coincide with what you're arrested for, they still don't want to let you go. You got to go tooth and nails with these people for them to let you go. And that's after they don't get 30 years out of you, 28 years and stuff like that. Then they'll say, okay, man, we don't took his whole youth, his 20s, 30s, and 40s. We can let him go now.
You see what I'm saying? It's hard to get out, man, but real easy to get in, you know? But where you at with your case? Tell them where your case set in your Instagram so they can follow you and talk to you direct.
Yeah, well, right now, man, I mean, I got different kind of litigation going on. I have a clemency petition that was made, that was done for me by...
This call is from a federal prison.
That was introduced me to a good brother of mine, Unique, you know. And there are other platforms that I'm pursuing, but I also got issues in like the 848 issue, the racketeer issue, the 4-4 issue. So I'm just shooting so many different avenues, man, in hopes that one of them prevail for me, you know what I'm saying? Because right now with the law and everything changing, it's mostly changing for non-violent offenders, but what we don't know what constitutes non-violence, because there are a lot of things that are non-violent that they say is violent. So we don't really know yet, man, but I have a lot of avenues of pursuing, man. I'm trying to pursue the Juvenile Act because they have a case out, United States versus Miller, saying that a male's brain isn't fully developed, his prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed till the age of 25. So any decision you made prior to that, you shouldn't be charged for. And a lot of dudes have been getting away with that, but they're only letting dudes up to the years of 18. Being that some of the crimes that I committed, I was 19, I'm trying to push that issue because 19 and 18 the same. It's still a teenager, but they're fighting me about that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I got ongoing litigation, but I got things going on, the petition, Brother Unique helping me out, Jed, Lou, a lot of good men out there, man, who never forget the struggle. They look back and see where they was at and understand that there's other men that they could help by utilizing the platform they got to help facilitate their freedom. So, man, that's where I'm at with it, man. But right now, I'm just waiting for certain things to change so that I could, you know, put my spell in there to the court, man. Because one thing about the legal avenue is that when you shoot your shot, it has to be direct. Your arrow has to be straight aimed and to the target, because one thing about it, man, they refuse to acknowledge the laws that they make and that governs them, you know, so you got to make sure that everything's right that you got.
Well said. If y'all ain't listening to that, ain't feeling that, I don't know what to tell you, you know. But, you know, you can go to freejimmyfingers.com, freejimmyfingers.com, and sign the petition. Tell them your Instagram name.
It's under my name. Just tell
Okay,
them
all right. So I got it. But that's family, you know. So, you know, I just want you to meet him, man, so you understand we got good brothers in the struggle that, you know, hold down morals and principles, man. You know, you want to shout anybody out, homie?
Well, I mean, you know, all the good men, man, all the survivors, you know what I'm saying? Those people who do extraordinary feats, man, to make sure that their families provided for and everything like that. Lou, Jed, my brother Unique, and all the other good men. Slave, my man Sean from Baltimore, Slave from DC, everybody, man, from all over, man. We say it's global. You know, when you're in the Feds, you meet so many good brothers, man. It's hard for you to say everybody that you want to give a shout out to, but, you know, there's a lot of strong, intelligent, principle-bound brothers, man, that's been in here, that's been released, that's out there doing good things. So I just want people to know that, man, after years and decades of being in prison, if people can't change, there is alteration in their behavior, their pattern of thinking and everything like that. Men do change. I don't think that, they should make laws that give a dude from he's 19, 20 years old, 30 years, and don't think that after 30 years of being incarcerated that they're still thinking like they were when they were 19, man. If you find yourself, doing things that you were doing at 50, 51, 49 when you was 19, man, you got to change your way of living, man. That's just how it is. You change your mentality, you change your environment, man. So I just want to give all the good men know who they are, though, Unique. All the good men know who they are.
There you go. There you go. But, yeah, that's family, man, so we trying to help get him home. So, again, go to freejimmyfingers.com. That's his picture on the screen, freejimmyfingers.com. Make sure you sign a petition, man, and, keep the brother in your prayer, But let me tap out. Been on here long enough. Let's get this outro going. You know what I mean?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
What?
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this.
Real.
Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, make an audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community yours. So we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the road men.
Special announcement, man. This is what my Cash App look like. It must have that green checkered box to the right of my name. No picture of me, none of that. This is exactly what my Cash App look like once you put in Unique Mecca Hall and you get ready to send it. It must have that green checkered box. Let's get this thing going. All right.